And a very happy Friday to you at 12:07 in the West. It's the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wings across the glass.
John, the depositions of firefighters are coming out about the Palisades fire, or specifically the Lachman fire that turned into the Palisades fire. And they don't make the city look good. They don't make the state look good. Nobody looks good except for the on-the-line firefighter that was worried about being retaliated against for telling the truth.
You could file this in the category of loose lips sink re-elections.
For more on the depositions that are being released from on-the-line firefighters of the Lachman then turned Palisades fire, here's a report from NBC LA.
Right now at 11, for the first time, we're hearing from firefighters who were on the scene of the Lachman fire.
Guys, you got to turn down her music.
By the way, why do all depositions look like they're taken from the same room? Have you noticed that? I've got to say, when I was watching this report earlier today, I thought to myself, boy, it's really nice to finally see a deposition where no one has to describe Michael Jackson's penis.
The show just started and you're already on notice.
On the scene of the Lachman fire in the Palisades, the fire that reignited a few days later and caused the deadly Palisades fire. Good evening, everyone. I'm Carolyn Johnson. Thousands of Palisades residents who lost their homes are part of a lawsuit that targets the city and state. NBC4's Robert Kovacic sorted through hours of those.
And by the way, these are the same lawsuits that the city and the state tried to get thrown out, and the judge said, hell no.
Good for that judge.
NBC4's Robert Kovacic sorted through hours of those sworn depositions tonight, and he joins us now with some of that testimony. Robert.
And Carolyn, these are depositions from 11 firefighters that were released tonight, released from a law firm claiming they bolster the case that the Lachman fire from January of last year was not fully extinguished.
Which we all know.
And by the way, I know the LA Times had a bombshell report where they talked about this. We've all been aware of this since what, January, February?
A lot of the on-the-line firefighters, although they have to speak under anonymity because they will be retaliated against, have been speaking out to Spencer Pratt and to other people for months and months and months.
Didn't Jennifer Van Laar publish something that just spelled it all out?
And the responsibility to monitor the burn scar fell to the state in the days that followed. Now, we do want to make it very clear that we only focus tonight on the full, unedited depositions we received, and specifically the testimony of one LAFD firefighter.
I'm just here to give you my accounts of what I did on January 2nd.
On January 2nd, firefighter Scott Pike, working an overtime shift, said he was told to grab the hoses during the mop-up of the Lachman fire that started on New Year's Day in Topanga State Park.
I just kept my mouth shut.
Whoa. What does Rob Bonta have to say about that?
Well, here's what he has to tell you about it. We've all been pronouncing it wrong our entire lives.
In Topanga.
Thanks, Rob.
That started on New Year's Day in Topanga State Park.
I just kept my mouth shut, followed orders, picked up hose.
The 23-year veteran with the LAFD said the Lachman fire appeared to have moved quickly.
I just noticed that it looked like the fire blew through there relatively fast, and there was a lot of unburnt fuel in the burn.
And appeared to not be fully extinguished.
I could feel the heat coming off of it, and I didn't even want to use my gloved hand because it was hot. So I just kicked it with my boot to kind of expose it, and there was like red hot, like coals.
And this is what we left.
What are you supposed to do, by the way? I know that California and Los Angeles, we like to say we're the most transparent city and state in the nation. But in a one-party state, that's not true. Your job is to make your dear leader look good. And if what you're saying and doing doesn't make the dear leader look good, then you get in trouble. You get punished. What are you supposed to do if you're the on-the-line firefighter? You know the fire isn't fully extinguished. You tell them that, and they tell you to move on because there's a battle over jurisdiction between the state and the city. And the politicians made that decision. What do? Do you go to the news right then? Do you go to the union? Do you go to, I don't know, social media? They're putting them in a horrible place.
What I believe to be the base of a bush or branches that was still smoldering, and I even heard crackling.
Depositions of Scott Pike and other LAFD personnel shared tonight with NBC4 News by the law firm representing thousands of Pacific Palisades residents who claim the smoldering Lachman fire ignited on January 7th to sweep through the Palisades.
None of the plaintiffs are suing the LAFD.
Okay.
We're not blaming the LAFD.
No, it's the city. You could blame management, but again, like you said, this was a fight between management of the LAFD, who were told to get out of there apparently by the state parks department because they were worried about some very endangered plants.
And I think what happened was Karen Bass, because it's not even at the LAFD level. Once you get to a battle between the city and the state, you're dealing with the people at the top of the pyramid because you have to go to them because you're dealing with the battle with a lot at stake. And I don't think the city wanted to pick a fight with Gavin at that moment in time.
Well, and the head of the city was in Ghana.
That's right.
The plane,
Or actually, at that point, she was getting on a plane to Ghana.
Apparently not watching the weather reports.
the plaintiff's attorney explained to our Carolyn Johnson on the one-year anniversary of the Palisades fire why the state government, which owns Topanga State Park, is one of the defendants in the lawsuit.
Because it's the state park's land, they have to be up there monitoring their own land. Now, if they see something, they could call CAL FIRE or they could call LAFD back.
And one of the things that some of the deposition videos that were released last night show is that the state parks employees told the LAFD they would monitor that area where the fire took place, and then they never did.
Well, you know what this was. This is some guy with a huge gut dressed like Ranger Rick who decides that he's in charge because he's got the uniform and the hat, and no one's going to tell him what to do. And the city of Los Angeles, instead of being assertive about it, and saying, no, this isn't a petty war between the city and the state. This is a potentially very dangerous thing. It's a public safety thing. We're going to make sure this fire is fully extinguished, and then you can go back to chasing Yogi the Bear around. They didn't do it. They just backed off.
But it's their obligation because it's their land.
I felt like I got kind of blown off a little bit.
On January 2nd, firefighter Pike said he made it known he did not believe the Lachman fire was over.
I saw something, I said something, and to my best ability, I felt like we could have done more.
Now,
Yeah, that is an indictment of so many people, but not, of course, the on-the-line firefighter, but management, the state parks, the governor, the mayor. Nobody's looking good here.
I'll tell you, the only entities who were telling the truth were the on-the-line firefighters and the fire chief. Because the fire chief said before the fire, I do not have the resources I need to adequately fight a big fire. And what happened? No water in the hydrants, no water in the reservoir, trucks that were inoperable, staffing levels that weren't adequate. What she said was true.
Now, minutes ago, the State Parks Department responding to NBC4 News request for comments, saying in part, you see it right here, by law, the fire response is the responsibility of the Los Angeles City Fire Department.
Then why did you tell them we got it?
Because that's what they're always going to do. No one ever accepts blame, especially for something like this, where you could be criminally liable for something.
California State Parks is not a firefighting agency and does not direct fire response. As a reminder, both the Lachman and Palisades fires occurred within the local responsibility area of the city of Los Angeles, and LAFD responded to the fires. Carolyn, I know you've been following this lawsuit intently. We should point out that when it was filed months ago, Governor Newsom's office dismissed it, right? They said the state did not start this fire. An arsonist started this fire, and any lawsuit against the state is baseless.
Well, those lawsuits are moving forward.
And you know what? They should. Yes, it was started by an arsonist, but it wasn't fully extinguished, and they knew it.
We're going to have much more to come on this tomorrow as we continue to sort through a lot more of these depositions.
11 to go through, but again, we only went through the full depositions that we had that were not edited.
Correct. All right, Robert, thank you.
Sure.
So that's the latest on the depositions coming out from people that were on the scene at the Lachman fire that after it wasn't put out and everyone walked away, when it got windy, became the Palisades fire that destroyed 6,000 structures and took away several lives.
Now that we've heard from all the firefighters, is it time to hear Macaulay Culkin?
That's strike two.
All right. Now, Ed Laskos is all over LAUSD because right now they're in a bit of a purgatory situation. They have a superintendent who has had his home, his office, and another location searched by the FBI, is not charged with a crime, but is in the middle of contract negotiations with the various unions. He's leading the second largest school district in the nation. What are you supposed to do?
And apparently he's been in hiding since the raids. So the LAUSD board had a closed session to discuss it. And here's Ed Laskos with that report from Fox 11.
LAUSD's board members just wrapped a closed-door meeting tonight. This is in the wake of FBI raids at district headquarters and the home of Superintendent Alberto Carvalho. He has not been charged with a crime. Fox 11's Ed Laskos is live in downtown LA with the latest on that meeting. Ed.
And Marla, developing now, the Board of Education just ending its hours-long meeting behind closed doors, meeting behind those closed doors for nearly 4 hours. They're coming out saying they'll reconvene again tomorrow. That's the only decision they made. They did not make a decision tonight involving what everybody's been talking about with those board members. Certainly we're talking about the future of the district's embattled superintendent, Alberto Carvalho. Watch.
The board is going to recess closed session until tomorrow at 12:30 p.m.
The LA Board of Education calling an end to its hours-long closed-door meeting.
It's not a crime blotter story, but still, I love to have Ed.
By the way, they have no clue what to do about this.
They have no idea.
A meeting quickly called to talk about the future of its superintendent, Alberto Carvalho.
The board is going to recess directly into closed session.
A closed session, he says, for nearly 4 hours. It's the latest move in the bombshell developments that have rocked LAUSD. Its superintendent, Alberto Carvalho, the target of FBI raids at his home in San Pedro and at his office in the district's downtown headquarters, all bringing this reaction from a parents group.
It's really unfortunate and embarrassing and sad that we're living through this. I thought immediately the chat thing, because, you know, that was an investigation. We knew that the feds were involved.
Reportedly, the raids all connected to an AI chatbot called Ed.
Okay, so this isn't something that we knew about, but apparently it's something everyone in that world knew about. If these parents knew about it, then Cecily definitely knew about it.
Cecily, did you know about it?
That is fantastic.
Well, you got to remember, Carvalho made a huge deal out of this contract with this AI chatbot that was going to teach kids algebra, and then it never appeared. It never showed up. They spent the money, but the company got busted for fraud.
Well, and think about this. If AI is going to take over the role that CTA and UTLA members currently fill, then isn't the union the one that really wants to kill this more than anyone?
And I want you to be all the way pissed off.
And if there's blood in the water, you might as well just go for the kill.
Hi, I'm learning every day just like you.
The district bought into Ed back in...
By the way, this is another LAUSD. You know, they could have just used any AI chatbot that's readily available from any of the tech places that we have out here. But no, we contract out to some crooked firm. This is the iPad scandal on steroids.
And this is how we do business here.
The district bought into Ed back in 2024. Here is Carvalho introducing that program.
Thank you very much.
But Ed never made it into the classrooms. Carvalho himself has not been seen since those FBI...
By the way, if you're going to have an AI chatbot named Ed, it should be voiced by Laskos.
And he's busted.
Has not been seen since those FBI raids. One of his last public appearances here on Fox 11 and Good Day LA Tuesday morning, talking about those impending layoffs and not those impending raids.
So we're going to do our very best based on attrition, people retiring, to actually find a home for as many people as possible.
He had no idea the feds were coming.
And now live, that is Alberto Cavallo on Good Day LA Tuesday morning. Remember, it's Tuesday morning. He's on our show. And then the next morning, Wednesday morning, as you know, those FBI raids go down. Cavallo, since then, keeping a very low profile, hasn't been seen in public anywhere. As for the district, it's out saying that all of its operations tomorrow, the schools, the offices will be open, normal hours. And Marla, as you know, the district only since this has happened really over the last 24 hours, 36 hours or so, is out saying that they are cooperating with the investigators, with the federal agents, and also the district stressing that
the feds looking at the books at LAUSD is not going to be good for anybody at LAUSD.
Oh, God. Get ready for prison overcrowding to become an issue again.
That is really the main focus continues to be with its students, with its parents, and with its employees as all of this continues, but very, very unshaky ground as, again, another long session behind closed doors planned for tomorrow afternoon.
Ed, I know that no decision made tonight. They'll meet again tomorrow afternoon. Did we get a sense of which way they were leaning in terms of making Carvalho step down or just a leave of absence?
The silence is only making the story worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, at least do the shang and say, hey, I'm only doing what everyone else before me was doing. Why are you coming after me?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Did you see the piece that dropped in the California Post about him?
Oh, which one was this?
Well, apparently he was sending racy photographs of himself to a reporter.
Oh, boy. Who are you, Antonio Villaraigosa?
Geraldo did that once.
There were also allegations that apparently this company that he had ties with in Florida that had the AI chatbot, that there were alleged kickbacks involved. You have the woman in bankruptcy court saying she's owed a big commission from this sale for this contract to LAUSD. There's a lot here. And I don't know how long he can stay completely silent and expect to keep his job, because this story ain't going away.
Especially with a great big shark named Cecily swirling around in the water.
Get that money!
800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you happen to be in the Central Valley this weekend, Randy, you can listen to us.
You can. So we do 15 live hours a week of this, noon to 3, every weekday on KABC in Southern California and KSFO in Northern California. But there's more, because we also podcast every hour of the show. So if you miss it or you want to hear something again or share it with your friends, search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe. That way they go right to your phone. You might need them someday. You can also listen to us 1 hour every Saturday on the big KMJ in Fresno. It's a special crafted replay of the Fix California Hour, and it airs Saturday at noon on KMJ. And we want to make sure we get them a whole bunch of listens and downloads. So if you're driving through the Central Valley, listen on the radio, 580 on the AM dial, 105.9 FM. You can also stream it wherever you are at KMJNow.com or download the KMJ Now app. It's the Fix California Hour replay, Saturdays at noon on KMJ.
In the meantime, what do you say we make a couple of listeners very happy?
Well, let's do that right now. 790 KABC welcomes Walter Trout to the Canyon and Agora Hills on March 7th. Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com. But right now, caller number 9 at 1-888-790-5222 gets a pair of tickets to the show. Tickets furnished by the Canyon, where music meets the soul. Good luck dialing.
And right now, it's time to open up the California Crime Blotter.
It's happened yet again.
It's Wild Wild West out here.
It's the California Crime Blotter with John
And Randy.
And Randy, the first one involves something we're all familiar with here in Los Angeles, a fake doctor.
But at the end of the day...
So when I saw this story, I could only think of one thing, although it is nothing to do with Barbara Ferrer.
Yeah.
But in Fresno, there is now awareness being put out of a new AI fake doctor scam where a real doctor's picture has been stolen and is being sent to old people saying that, hey, I can give you the best telehealth money can buy. Please input your credit card number.
And they're doing it?
And they're doing it.
I have tech issues.
So, de facto, this is a fake doctor.
It is.
No, thank you.
Did I pull this story as an excuse to play a whole bunch of drops of Barbara Ferrer? Yes, I did.
I feel like we're the K-Earth of talk radio today.
For more on the fake doctor scam in the Central Valley, here is CBS 47.
A warning from a local doctor tonight after someone used artificial intelligence to impersonate him online. The fake account targeted patients promoting telehealth appointments in exchange for a fee.
Our Juanita Adame spoke with the doctor. She joins us live in studio now with his message. Hey, Juanita.
Hey, Emily. Well, Dr. Juan Bautista is a local physician and well known in the community. He has several locations in Fresno and said this scam was targeting his senior citizen patients who really believed this was him.
Wait, I know that doctor. He wants my money. You got it.
Okay, but you don't know the difference when you're sitting there talking to him on the computer?
They're elderly. They get confused. They are the most vulnerable to all kinds of scams because people are awful.
And then they talk to this fake doctor about their gout.
Take a close look at this video. It appears to show Dr. Juan Bautista and a colleague inside his office. The doctor first looks at the camera. His colleague turns to walk away as the camera pans to follow her. He waves goodbye before looking back at the camera and smiling again.
So my first thought is always, hopefully someone didn't get taken advantage of.
The video is...
I think somebody did.
You know how you can tell that this is all fake?
How's that?
If you zoom in to the fake doctor office, you see Current magazines. No doctor's office has ever had Current magazines in the history of the earth.
The video is worrisome to the doctor because it's fake. Someone created it using AI and sent it to people through WhatsApp.
So they took his picture and through AI generated a video where it looks like he's talking to the purported victim.
They're on WhatsApp?
I don't know why anybody is on WhatsApp. I mean, if you've got international family, maybe.
But elderly people in Fresno are on WhatsApp?
Maybe they have international family.
Because in my practice, I take care of a lot of the elderly and underserved.
The video is promoting telehealth services for a fee.
Where they'll say, hey, we can get medical advice for $45. Of course, all you have to put your credit card or your Venmo.
We're going to do this all over the phone, so I need you to figure out how to turn on FaceTime, and then you can show me that thing under you know what.
This doctor sounds like Carvalho's neighbor.
No, thank you. Where they'll say, hey, we can get medical advice for $45. Of course, all you have to put your credit card or your Venmo, and that's where things can happen.
Bautista.
Oh, boy. The elderly have Venmo?
You know how else you can tell it was fake?
How's that?
They didn't cancel the appointments morning of.
Bautista says the real him will never offer telehealth or any services through WhatsApp or any online platform that's not secure.
Most doctors, including myself, will not give medical advice online, will not do appointments via social media.
J. Colin Peterson says these types of scams are just going to become more widespread.
Yeah, for all the advances in AI, what's really starting to be captured is all the ways that AI can be used to scam people.
Well, don't forget, this guy El Mencho, who just got whacked by the Mexican authorities, part of what his cartel was doing is they had warehouses in Mexico where they had call centers and they were ripping off the elderly in the United States, selling them phony baloney timeshares.
Boy, in the last few years, AI has gotten very sophisticated.
Peterson is the CEO and founder of helpdesk.tech.
It's just gotten so much easier to create and so much more undetectable.
Each day it becomes more realistic.
Versions of real human beings and cloning voices.
I mean, the only thing you can do at this point is don't answer a text from a stranger, don't answer a call from a stranger.
And don't answer a text from any relative asking for money.
and cloning mannerisms and really being able to impersonate real human beings.
Senior citizens, he says, can be more at risk.
Our aging population trusts a fair amount more easily, and I would encourage our aging population to approach with skepticism.
I think everyone's got to have a conversation way earlier than you think you need to about power of attorney and about signatory on the bank accounts.
Well, and just think about it. At least in the old days, when the elderly got scammed, at least they came out of it with Star Trek Signature Series mugs, Elvis collectible plates, and lottery tickets.
Now it's a lot worse.
Skepticism.
The best way to set up an appointment with Dr. Bautista, he says, just getting back to the basics.
The proper way is the good old-fashioned way, which is calling our office.
And then we'll put you on hold for 20 minutes.
Yeah, because he's out smoking a pack of cigarettes.
And this is not the first time the doctor tells us his image has been used in AI. He always tries to stay on top of it, warning his patients as soon as the video begins to circulate. Live here in the studio, Juanita Adame, KC24 Local News that matters.
So this is your public service announcement. Your doctor is not trying to message you on WhatsApp. It's a scam. It is a de facto fake doctor.
Yeah.
And Randy, it's time to reopen the blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
We couldn't make this stuff up if we tried.
I said, hell no, baby boy. Let me get up on out of here.
It's the California Crime Blotter.
And this edition of the blotter reminds me of some excellent plantains that I ate one time in Puerto Rico.
In Sonoma County, 800 roosters had to be confiscated when the officials broke down a massive cockfighting ring.
They're still doing that in California, huh?
Apparently to the point where one guy was raising 800 roosters to fight. And once you seize them, you cannot untrain them to want to attack you. So they had to kill all 800 roosters, which means someone was eating good at the sheriff's department that night.
Well, they're bred to kill. They're like the pit bulls of the poultry world.
And you know what they do? They actually attach little knives to their beaks, so they're even more deadly.
Oh, could you imagine getting chased around by one of them?
For more on the Sonoma County cockfighting ring being broken up, here is Cron 4.
A big story tonight. More than 800 fighting roosters were confiscated in Sonoma County this week in what the sheriff's office is calling a cockfighting operation.
Yeah, the bust happened in Santa Rosa, and the sheriff's office tells us they've been trying to investigate the cockfighting ring since July. Cron 4's Jack Mulmond has the story.
They've been really looking into this thing.
Imagine being the guy that the county said, okay, you're in animal control, right? Yeah. You're low man on the totem pole, least amount of seniority, right? Yeah. All right, well, here's your job today. You see all those angry, violent birds? Go bring them back to us.
800 roosters is a pretty large number indeed. Sheriff's deputies also discovered 4 separate firearms on the property. And with the sheer size that this operation was running with those 800 roosters, investigators believe that it wasn't exclusive to that one home.
This is the biggest one that I could recall, and I've been in law enforcement for almost 25 years.
Sonoma County sheriffs say 833 roosters were taken from this property off the 3000 block of Stony Point Road in Santa Rosa.
This was a cockfighting farm.
Do they have an arena for the fights? Because I know in Puerto Rico they did. It was right next to my hotel.
Now, I don't even know if there was any fighting being done on the scene. I think this guy's whole job was to raise them, make them angry, make them want to fight, and then you sell them to the people that want to do the cockfighting. And apparently each rooster can go for between $5,000 and $10,000.
Where is that legal nowadays?
Not anywhere in the United States.
Puerto Rico, there was an entire arena right next to the embassy suites. I can see it from my window.
Not anywhere in the continental United States or Hawaii or Alaska. The territories, who knows?
This video shows the conditions the animals were living in. Juan Valencia with the Sheriff's Office.
We believe it was a large scale, but the thing is with some of these rooster fighting rings is that you have people from other counties.
That's not the way to say it.
Is that you have people from other counties, other states come and participate in rooster fights.
With each rooster bred specifically.
You've got to have, I understand the pull to be obsessed with gambling. Heck, half of this show, John Phillips, is obsessed with gambling.
Oh, yes.
You have wagered money on the outcome of sporting events and card games and slot machines. Oh, so many slot machines.
Many times.
Would you ever bet on something like this?
No.
How big of a gambling addict do you have to be betting on two roosters trying to kill each other?
If that's something that you think is enjoyable, you probably should go to a meeting.
With each rooster bred specifically to fight, they are worth anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 per animal, making this underground fighting operation worth multiple millions of dollars.
They're making money off these animals because they're training the good roosters, and the weak ones, unfortunately, are killed during the process.
Guns were taken from the property, and Sergeant Valencia says these operations are breeding grounds for illegal betting, drugs, and violence.
And there's a lot of, emotions and tempers. It could.
How many people are involved in stuff like this?
Okay. You know what these types of birds do at daybreak, correct?
Yes, we do.
How many of these types of birds were in one location?
837.
Okay, that's a lot of them. What do you think it sounded like in that neighborhood about 6 a.m.?
Maybe they could have discovered this sooner.
Emotions and tempers, it could lead to something else.
One suspect, 30-year-old Saul Villalobos de la Cruz, was arrested. Sheriffs are looking for one more, believing these operations are more widespread throughout Sonoma County.
I was surprised because I didn't hear before.
And in the rural neighborhood, Victor Manieri, a pastor with the Bridge Community Church, says he had no idea such a large crime ring was happening.
Yeah, and that's one of the concerns, especially with the church and the congregation that we have here. It does bring a little bit of fear to the people.
And some sad news to report.
The church didn't realize they were operating so close to a cockfighting ring.
To the people.
And some sad news to report here is that all 833 of those fighting roosters had to be euthanized. They are specifically bred for the purpose of fighting, which is why it would...
Well, since they were bred for the purpose of fighting and they had to be put down, were they then breaded and sent to the colonel?
Well, you might as well. What are you going to do? Give them to those handicapped kids in Long Beach?
Which is why it would have been nearly impossible to rehabilitate them. The Sonoma Sheriff's Department does say, though, if you are suspicious of any illegal cockfighting operation happening in your neighborhood, you should give them a call. Reporting here in Santa Rosa, Jack Mulmud, Cron 4 News.
I don't know if it's the largest cockfighting bust I've ever seen, but it is a pretty massive cockfighting bust that we saw in Sonoma County. If you are interested in this kind of sport, stop it.
Well, you know what? A doodle do.
You were very good.
You notice that? I behaved myself.
You really did.
The whole segment.
Makes up for the Michael Jackson joke.
Boy, every other ad on television is for Tom Steyer. You notice that?
Surprised he hasn't bought here yet, although I'm sure that's coming.
I've seen more Tom Steyer ads in the last hour than Adriana, Veronica, and Lobster Fest combined. Katie Porter is not going to like that.
She's going to have to do another cooking video. She going to be mad.
Let's go to Harry. Harry, welcome.
How are you, John?
Good.
Yeah, I wanted to weigh in on the whole cockfight sort of topic. Longtime Sonoma County resident. I have to say there's a bit of an ethnic elephant in the room here with respect to this that probably needs to be at least acknowledged, and that cockfighting in Sonoma County has been around a really long time. I could probably drive right now to 2 or 3 other operations, and it's kind of interesting to me that we're just sort of now getting around to it. I mean, like I said, it's about as old as bullfighting, and same ethnic group involved.
Yeah, it's interesting that they don't really blow the whistle on this all that often. When you have so many people who are members of PETA, and if you wear a fur coat to a fancy event, they'll dump a bunch of red paint on you. Yet you can have an operation like this going on in broad daylight where everyone knows about it and no one seems to care.
Well, wasn't that long ago we had an initiative in this county to try to do away with all of animal husbandry, all of pig farming, chicken farming, anything that had to do with meat consumption. We were trying to put something on the ballot to put all the farmers out of business. Cockfighting, of course, was never mentioned, and here it is now. So I find it timely, interesting, coincidental. I don't believe in coincidence. But anyway, I just thought I'd weigh in on that.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
I know we don't get a lot of calls from Healdsburg, but you ever been up there? It's gorgeous.
I have not.
It is fun. It's a little north of the Russian River. Gorgeous little town. Great little downtown square. Beautiful wineries. Great bars. It's one of those places where you could post up in the hotel and just do all kinds of day drinking.
But what happens if you want to sleep in?
Well, I don't think the cockfighting happens in Healdsburg. I think it happens in more of the rural parts of Sonoma County.
No, but I think you can hear it all the way over there.
You might. You know what? I have to think back. When I was in the Russian River for a week, did I get woken up by roosters every day? I may have, although I was too hammered to notice.